Hello and happy first day of October. Metal Rocker 86 is here again reviewing another album. Why not look at something else from John Cougar? So here is my review of Scarecrow. I don't think I need to give John Mellencamp's backstory again, but if you'd like to hear it, please go watch my review of American Fool. On to the album. Scarecrow is John Mellencamp's 8th studio album, and it was released on August 5th of 1985. It ranked as high as 2nd in Australia, where it is a 4-time platinum, and in the US, where it is a 5-time platinum. It consists of 12 songs, and altogether is just under 41 minutes long. On vocals, guitar and harmonica is John Mellencamp. On guitars, both acoustic and electric, and backing vocals is Larry Crane. On drums, tambourine, vibes, and backing vocals is Kenny Aronoff. On electric guitar and backing vocals is Toby Myers. And finally, on keyboards is John Casella. Now on to the songs, all of which were written by John Mellencamp except where stated otherwise. Now this first one is somewhat up-tempo. George M. Green helped write it, and it was also released as a single. It's called Rain on the Scarecrow. Instrumentation. The main focus is on the guitar, and it gives off a somewhat gloomy mood, but you can also hear the drums in the background. I like the solo in this song too. The lyrics describe the hardships of being a farmer in the Midwest. Such hardships can include banks repossessing the farm. This was a great song to start the album with. Now the tempo slows down as we get to Grandma's Theme, which is a traditional song, and it was sung by John's grandmother, Laura Mellencamp. Instrumentation. This one consists of a very quiet acoustic guitar. This was actually a song that John's grandmother sang to all her grandkids. The lyrics are set on a train at night where only a young man and his infant son are awake. His son starts crying and everyone else on the train tells them to be quiet. This was a good song on the album. Now the tempo picks up as we get to Small Town, which was also released as a single. Instrumentation. The main focus is on the guitar, which is quite catchy, but you can also hear the drums in the background. There is a nice keyboard solo in this one, as well as a part with a harmonica. Mellencamp grew up in Seymour, Indiana, and this song describes the experiences of living in a small town. This was a great song on the album. The same tempo continues as we get to Minutes to Memories. It was also released as a single, and George M. Green helped write it. Instrumentation. For the most part, the guitars and drums can be heard equally, but in the chorus the guitars overpower a bit. I feel like the lyrics describe a guy who's sharing memories of his father to his son. This was another great song on the album. The same tempo still continues here as we get to Lonely Old Night, which was also released as a single. Instrumentation. The main focus again is on the guitar and it's quite catchy, but you can also hear the drums in the background. This one also has a really good solo. The lyrics describe a romantic evening between a couple who is alone with no one else around. This was another great song on the album. Now the tempo speeds up as we get to The Face of the Nation. Instrumentation. It starts off with an intro with bass and drums which then continue into the verse. The guitars steal the show for the chorus. This song also has a pretty cool solo. I interpret the lyrics as being about a city full of poverty. The leaders keep changing but everything stays the same. This was an okay song on the album. The tempo speeds up a little again as we get to Justice and Independence 85, which was also released as a single. Instrumentation. It starts off with a catchy guitar intro with some background drums. The bass comes in soon after. The guitars get quieter for the verse, but the energy comes back in the chorus. This one also features A. Jack Williams on saxophone and Richard Fanning on trumpet. The lyrics describe the division between a family and a nation. This was another good song on the album. The tempo slows down in between a laugh and a tear, and Ricky Lee handles the vocals. Instrumentation. The main focus is on the very catchy guitars in this one, but you can also hear the drums in the background. John Mellencamp was a very successful musician in the US, but that came with some difficulties. For example, he had a panic disorder. This song describes how success can affect your emotions, both in a good way and a bad way. This was another great song on the album. The tempo speeds up as we get to Rumble Seat, which was also released as a single. Instrumentation. This one starts off with a cool guitar intro, but in the verse they disappear and all you can hear are the bass and drums, and in the chorus they return. A rumble seat is a seat on a car that is outside at the very back and it's not covered. They stopped making them on cars back in the 1930s. That doesn't sound very comfortable, does it? In this case, he's using that feeling to describe the difficulties that someone is going through. This was another great song on the album. Now the tempo slows down, and you've got to stand for something. Instrumentation. This one starts off with a very catchy guitar intro with some background drums. In the verse, you can only hear the drums, but the guitars return in the chorus. I interpret the lyrics as being about a guy who's seen a lot, knows a lot, and been a lot of places, but he's not satisfied unless he has something to believe in. This was an okay song on the album. Now the tempo really speeds up as we get to my favorite song on the album. Sarah Flint handled the background vocals in this one. It was also released as a single. It's called R.O.C.K. in the USA, a salute to 60s rock. Instrumentation. This one starts off with a guitar intro that gets you rocking. In the verse, however, the main focus is on the drums. But in the chorus, the focus goes back to the guitars. I really like the solo in this one. According to John Mellencamp, the lyrics describe how rock and roll became big and the musicians of the past influenced the musicians of the present. This was an amazing song on the album and the perfect one to originally end it with. Now this final song is called The Kinda Fella I Am, and it was only included on the cassette and CD release. This one features Ry Cooder on slide guitar. Instrumentation. The main focus is on the guitar in this one, but you can also hear the drums in the background, and the solo is pretty good. I feel like the lyrics describe a relationship where the guy says he doesn't like certain things about his partner, but he thinks about what he does like about her. This was a good song to end the album with. So what did I like about this album? I enjoyed listening to this one. The songs were all very well written, mostly in the right order. The instrumentation sounded really good, and so did the vocals. The only minor change I would have made is I would have kept R.O.C.K. in the USA at the end like they did originally, so it ends on a bang. To conclude this, Scarecrow is definitely worth listening to, and I know you will enjoy it. Well, that's the end of this review. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up down below, and don't forget to subscribe and share. Until next time, R.O.C.K. on!